Hello, I'm Simon Wood, and this is the flipped recording for EDU 70008. The purpose of this flipped recording is just to let you know how to find the assignment details, and also just to highlight a couple of areas that you might feel that you need to just think about prior to the collaborate session we have on Tuesday. So this is assignment 1, and it's a presentation. The word limit is 4 minutes, plus or minus 1 minute. Waiting 40%. Due date 5 p.m. Australian Eastern date time, Monday 2nd December, which is week 5. So let's go straight in and have a look at the assignment overview. It says the purpose of the presentation is for you to demonstrate and communicate your understanding of the health and physical education curriculum, including the importance of physical exercise and the specific motor skills that children should develop at different year levels within the primary context, of course. Furthermore, throughout your presentation, you're required to showcase your ability to analyse pedagogical approaches in relation to teaching and learning health and PE. In preparing your presentation, you'll need to take into account that it's appropriate for your identified audience, which is parents and carers in this case, as well as the interests of other relevant stakeholders. In delivering your presentation, you'll have an opportunity to develop the presentation skills that constitute a requirement for all classroom teachers. So the assignment details, you're required to produce a video presentation of 4 minutes length, in which you will place yourself in the position of a teacher explaining to a group of parents and carers, we'll come back to that, the health and physical education curriculum for a particular primary year level. So your presentation must include the following things. It must include these elements. Firstly, an introduction that provides an overview of your chosen year level of the contents of the health and PE curriculum. So you must indicate a year level. An explanation of the importance of physical exercise, including a discussion on 2 or 3 motor skills children develop throughout primary school. Number 3, an analysis of the pedagogical approaches in teaching and learning health and PE. They include how ICT is embedded in your lessons. So you need to discuss perhaps just a couple of ideas of how you include ICT. An analysis of the designated assessment strategies that explain their features, benefits, limitations, and implementation constraints. So you might want to include more than one assessment strategy. And while I mentioned that, looking at 3 as well, you might want to mention more than one pedagogical approach as well. Number 5, an evaluation of the appropriate methods that you'll take to ensure the learning environment has been set up to be safe and challenging. And excuse me, a conclusion that sums up the content of the presentation. Additional assignment details. Your presentation must be framed by relevant theory and academic literature. All resources referred to in the presentation must be included in a separate reference list document and appropriately formatted in APA style as usual. In addition to the content of your presentation, you'll be assessed on the quality of your presentation. So remember, you're playing the role of a professional educator addressing a group of parents and carers. All information must be presented in a way that demonstrates a level of professionalism and addresses the needs of your audience. That's important. Your speaking voice, use of supporting resources and visual presentation, including your physical posture and non-verbal communication, are all important considerations. I'll mention it here. The audience is really important. You imagine if you were actually doing this. I know in reality you're presenting to me, or to Erin, but the assessment requires you to imagine that you're presenting to parents and carers. So you would have a whole range of different knowledge bases within that audience. You will have 1 or 2 people in there who have experience or academic knowledge of education, but you'll also have people in there with 0 interest or knowledge in terms of literature, etc. So your explanation needs to cover both elements there, or both ends of the spectrum. You need to be framing it and basing it on relevant theory and academic literature, but also you must be able to demonstrate your understanding by explaining it in really straightforward terms that anyone would understand. So that's really what we're looking for here. Okay, so preparing your presentation. The learning materials in week 1 to 3 have been specifically designed to provide the information you need to complete your presentation. So weeks 1, weeks 2, weeks 3 have the information that you need to draw on for this presentation. So that's great. You're strongly advised to engage with all resources provided in these weeks, and especially to participate in the collaborative activities, as these will help you build your understanding of the key concepts and theories related to the folio, as well as practice and develop your writing and referencing skills. So as usual, yes, get on the DB, talk to each other, get your ideas out there. I'm going to be asking, I'm sure Erin as well, will be asking other follow-up questions to try and stimulate discussion and some of your ideas as well, make you think maybe outside the box a little bit, and we'll get there as a group. So to produce your video, remember that your video is intended to simulate the experience of speaking in front of an audience of parents and carers. So the following tips should be helping capturing a more authentic experience. Think about your audience. That's exactly what I've just covered. Speak slowly and clearly, and pitch your vocal tone at a level that is suitable for the audience. Try to set up the room to resemble a class. Place some chairs in front of you. If you can find some friends to sit on them, great. Maybe just against a wall with some posters on the wall, something like that. It's nothing too elaborate, but these suggestions are just taken from previous videos and things that really worked. So rather than rely on static recording devices like a PC, webcam, etc., you can get a friend to film you, and that just makes it a little bit more authentic, and you get a little bit of feedback as you're talking as well. Take care with elements such as audio volume, lighting and background wherever you stand. It's critical that you can be clearly seen and heard. Obviously that's the most important. You don't want to be walking out of shot, so your ELA can assess your speaking and presentation skills and make sure there's no distractions in the picture. So don't do it in front of a window where you're kind of distracted looking out to see what's happening behind you. And actually that's kind of just like you would in practice. You wouldn't want to have a background where kids are looking beyond you to see what's going on. You want to be able to get their attention, or indeed if you're presenting to parents. Rehearse your presentation. You may like to take the time to rehearse your presentation and get some feedback. That's a great idea, and I would suggest that with any assignment actually, is to get feedback. And submitting your presentation, fairly straightforward. Usual submission, upload a Word document that contains a YouTube link to presentation video. If your video is password protected, please provide the password details within the document. I know that some of you, for whatever reasons, might be more comfortable having it password protected, and that is perfectly fine. You don't have to, but make sure that you provide the password as well. If you're unsure about the upload process, please refer to the technical guides provided in the student portal. Supporting resources, there's a whole list of them there. Make sure you have a look at each one of these. These are really, really useful. Very often we see individuals falling down on all sorts of different types of assessments and different units, and the problems would have been resolved by looking at the supporting resources. Please have a look through those. Submission details as usual via Turnitin. So this Word document with which will be your link and a reference list will be submitted normally. The assignment criteria, I'm not going to go into this in too much depth now. We'll do that in the Collaborate session to explain it. Obviously, I'll just outline now the areas that we're looking at. First of all, we're looking at your demonstrated knowledge of the relevant national or state territory curriculum content. So kind of one of the key elements of this assignment is to demonstrate your understanding of the curriculum content. Okay, and that's what this week 2's discussion and activity is all about. Demonstrated understanding of the importance of physical exercise and specific motor skills. So that's content. Analysis of pedagogical approaches in teaching and learning of health and PE. So again, that's really important that you understand the pedagogy, and a link to that is of course assessment as well. So yes, it's a kind of a holistic rubric. Always I suggest to students to read through these really, really closely so you understand them. Look what is required for a high distinction as opposed to a distinction, as opposed to a credit. Really understand what it's asking for, and make sure that when you actually do produce your presentation, you have a look at this guide to making judgments and assess yourself as well. Have I missed anything out? If you think you haven't really fully covered something, then go back. One thing I need to point out to you as well, this is brand new, this teaching period, requests for assignments and extension. So we have a 48-hour extension. You can click on that to do that. You don't send your ELA that anymore. You do it via this way. And if you need more than 48 hours, then it's this this link here. So that should make things really much more easy and more straightforward for you to understand. And that really is about it for this. I look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday, along with myself and Erin. And hopefully you've just got maybe when you've seen this, you might have a few questions in your mind. Bring them along, and we'll hopefully be able to cover those as well. So I'll speak to you on Tuesday.